Vamos a dar paso a cerrar con broche de oro este magno evento con el último bloque de conferencias magistrales. El siguiente presentador es Bob Molle. Él es escritor, es conferencista internacional, atleta profesional. Es el único atleta que ha ganado una medalla olímpica, lucha olímpica, y además 2 campeonatos de fútbol americano en Canadá. Él además ayuda a personas de todo tipo a tomar acción y alcanzar su completo potencial al compartir su enfoque tan único en el establecimiento de metas. El nombre de su ponencia es Ponte cómodo, estando incómodo. Por favor, démosle la bienvenida a Bob Molle.
Gracias. Hola, where's Shama? Where's my girl? She was making me dance. I have a cute story I got to share with you. The people that were there the first day, my first belief system is invest in yourself. And in women, I came from a different world. And I've been married over 27 years, but I got to tell a neat story about my life, a little bit different. And I would say a strong woman that I married 27 years ago. And it all started well over 10 years ago. My kids, I had 3 kids, and I canceled Christmas one day on my kids. So I thought they were spoiled. So I just shut them down. And I said, we're not going to go for Christmas anymore, just so you know that. Guess what we're going to do? We're going to plan an adventure. And the adventure, I said to the kids, I said, you go into the room, you guys decide what you guys want for an adventure. And they go, okay, Dad. The 3 kids walked in there, came back, and they said, Dad, we got it. We know what we want to do. I said, okay, what is it? They said, Dad, we want to see all the wonders of the world. I said, interesting. Mom and I looked at each other, took them out of school for a month. We said, sounds great. What's the first one? Dad, we heard from the moon that, guess what? You can see the Great Wall of China. We want to go there first. 2004. So pack up our kids, take them all up, Beijing. And I never understood how dominant a female can be, because we have a saying, and I don't know if it happens in Mexico, maybe it's just in Canada where I come from, happy wife, happy life. And some men, it takes a little longer to that. I don't run our household. I want to be very upfront. I was the captain of my football team, captain of all the teams. I was the alpha male. But I don't run our house. My wife's a lawyer back in there, and she deals with defense as prosecuting, defense lawyer to murderers, drug dealers, everything. She runs the shop. And I remember it distinctly because in another country, we're in China, we had rented this guy for a couple minutes, and he turned around and he was guiding us through the Great Wall, and we paid for this guide to come in. And I sat right back in the middle, and my wife was over on the other side, but he'd never look at my wife. He thought I was running the house. Wrong answer. And he kept on looking at questions. He'd stop, he'd look back, and he had this real broken English accent. And with Chinese, he'd turn back and he'd go, "Wah!" And I didn't have a clue what he said. He turned around a couple more times, he stopped, he looks back, he goes, "Ah!" And he'd ask another question like, "What? Ah!" And I didn't have a clue what he was saying. He finally stops at a red light, pulls right into the park, looks at me like this, and just shook his head, and he goes, "Hoda, boss." And I said, "What?" And my kids all at the same time knew what he said. They said, "Who the boss, Dad?" And all 3 of my kids looked over at Mom in the front seat. "Mom's the boss." And the guy looked at me, disgusting, looked like that, looked back at me. He says, "She the tiger, you the little potato." And I said, "Yeah, that's about it." So now, guess what you guys got speaking to you today? Not the tiger, but the little potato. And what I want to talk to you about today about a little potato is how the little potato, how I got caught by the tiger. And we're going to talk about, actually my book is just coming in the next couple bit. We're going to have a couple I think it's in a box here. It's just going to be launched in Spanish here in the next couple of minutes. So it's getting couriered here. We only have a limited amount of books, so it'll be out in the back in a second here. My book is Get Comfortable Being Uncomfortable. My recommendation is, I want to make you uncomfortable, because you're going to have to make changes in your life if you want to be happy. Is that a fair comment? Is that little magic one working? The first piece, you get that working? You want to hit the slide there? First thing I want to talk about is one simple strategy. And I guess when anybody who saw me the other night, one piece that I'd like to talk to you about, how many people, just a show of hands, how many people believe that the most important thing they do is priority-wise is take care of themselves? Show of hands. And for all those other people that don't believe it, we're going to have to escort you out. Sorry. I believe, and how many people here, just a show of hands, how many people would be really interested in really one thing that could improve their performance? Would that be of interest to you today? And I'm going to show you one of the techniques I used, and it'll help you if you take it and you run with it. But the first thing is priorities. Make sure everybody's on the same page. The first priority is always you. Take care of your body, your mind, and your spirit. You're the number one priority. Take care of that one first. I'm going to backdate you to 1984. I was an old Olympic wrestler, and I had to learn the first thing. And this one, I had an old mentor from years ago. He taught me this story. And really what he did, he sat me down, and I sat down with him for about a month, and for a day, every month, for a whole year, and I understood in Eastern philosophy. And that's why Shama and I probably got along so well. We talked about so many things that were so similar. And I just want to share one of them with you, and if you could take that home, it could improve your performance quite a bit. We are going, hey, we got priorities now? Beautiful. The number one's you. The first one I want to make sure that everybody understands, I go by a different set of rules, because I'm a little bit local. See? Fair? How many people know what R&D, what they mean by R&D is? Research and development. My R&D is just a little bit different. And if we want to impact people, the best way and the fastest way to do this, and I want to come clean on everybody, this. I'm the biggest thief in the world. I've stolen so many ideas. All I do is one thing. My R&D is rob and duplicate. And I found the fastest way for me to improve my performance was to just mimic the people that I thought were the best people in the world. So I'll take you back a couple days. 1984, spring of 84, there was a guy by the name of Bruce Baumgartner. And I lost to Bruce, and I didn't like him. He was the enemy. I was the good guy, he was the enemy. I lost to him, Lucha Libre, see? The Panamericanos, the World Cup, the World Championships. I lost to him in every tournament, so he was the bad guy. But he phoned me up. We trained together, and I remember sitting down with my mentor a couple times, and I said, you don't understand. He said, first thing he taught me was, Bob, you have to have relationships with everybody. I said, relationships? With everybody? He goes, yes. I said, I'm sorry, I can't have relationships with everybody. There's one bad guy out there, and this was my bad guy. His name was Bruce Baumgartner, he was Olympic champion. He was the first four-time Olympic medalist ever in the sport of wrestling. And he was my bad guy. I lost to him every time. And I remember my mentor said, you need to develop relationships with everybody. And I said, everybody? He goes, yes. And then he turned around and he said to me, he says, Bob, he looked back and he says, I said, everybody. He goes, yeah. I said, this is the bad guy, though.